Hey, everybody. I hope you are having a beautiful day, a beautiful night, a beautiful wherever you're at, all the things beautiful. Now, listen. For a lot of you, if depends on where you're going to be watching from this evening. And so I have two different cameras set up. So if you are right here, then you are on TikTok, and I am over here live giving you a little piece of TikTok this evening. If you are over here, then we are on YouTube, and then you'll also see it on a whole bunch of other different platforms as well. So I wanted to just jump on this evening because this month we are celebrating Women's History Month. And I just wanted to make sure that women had something that was for them this month. Now, if you are not a woman, it is still okay. You can still come on and you can listen, because what I'm talking about, our subject matter is quality of life. And quality of life for me is one of those that I feel like over the last 2 years has become a major focus in what I do with my company. So we have a company, my husband and I, called Give It to the People. And Give It to the People is a company that focuses on curated business events. So we put some dope shit together. That's just basically what we do. And our focus is on BIPOC and women-owned businesses, so that this way we can help entrepreneurs understand that there is a need for mental health. And so what we like to call it is mental wealth, because we're building something where we talk about the business side of things so that you monetarily are good, right? And then also the personal side of things, so that this way you can go ahead and you can meld those two things together. Now, what I think is extremely important about this is that we are always so busy doing all of the work and trying to get the next client and trying to get the next sale and trying to promote something and trying to stay up with our content calendars. And God forbid we try to stay up with all of the different social media that's out here, that what happens a lot of times is that we don't take the time to spend with ourselves and to get ourselves together. So this is an opportunity when we talk about quality of life for you to think about all of those things. Now, I like to take notes because I like to be prepared whenever we jump on. And if you have a question or a comment, feel free to go ahead and put that out there. Now, just FYI, I'm gonna go ahead and be honest with y'all. My contacts, I need to get some new contacts. I was just like, listen, I'm gonna have to bring out the good grandmas tonight. So in case I need to read something, I do have my glasses on stash. So I will need to pull those out, just FYI. Now, I don't know if anybody else is visually challenged like I am, but just understand the visual challenge, the shit is real. Okay. So when we talk about this whole thing of quality of life, I have the definition to always get a clear definition, so that this way we can understand exactly where we're at. Now, the definition: the standard of health, comfort, and happiness experienced by an individual. Okay, now let me read that to you one more time. The standard of health, comfort, and happiness experienced by an individual. So I love that that's something that's a part of this, right? When we talk about the standard of health. Now, you may want to talk about health in regards to, a lot of different things, because I think that our relationships can be healthy. I think that, our bodies can be healthy. But what I feel like is the most important thing is that our minds are healthy. So I want to give you an example of something like that, because the problem is that there are people that have less than you right now. And I know you might not want to hear that, because you're in your own journey, your own struggle, if you want to call it a struggle. You're on your own path. But there are people that have less than you. And so when we think about that, I want you to think about somebody like Stephen Hawking. Now, if you don't know who Stephen Hawking is, scientist, just brilliant. And Stephen Hawking had a disease where it ended up debilitating him to the point where he had to talk through, the little microphone thing that goes into your mouth. And he could really only move this part of his body. I mean, he was in the wheelchair. But being brilliant and being able to share what he knew was still something that was an opportunity. And until he died, regardless of the fact that he is debilitating disease, he was still able to do it to the people. So I want to use an example just to say that your circumstance may be something that you feel like is totally and completely debilitating right now. Not mean that you have to stay in that circumstance, but it does mean that you have the ability and opportunity to be able to grow past it. So yesterday, I like to listen to Bible study. So I'm listening to Bible study, and the Pastor Mike Thomas, love Pastor Mike Thomas, Love and Faith Christian Fellowship. Now, he was talking about the whole idea and the concept that you have a helper inside. Now, I don't know what your religion is, believe it, but let's just go with this theory. And so he's talking about the Holy Spirit, how you have to accept that there are some life that you want to change. And in order for you to have a better quality of life, the whole idea was that the Holy Spirit was supposed to come in there and to organize your mind so that this way it would allow you to do what? To see your life. And then that's how you decide that you're going to have a better quality of life. When I thought about it that way, I was just like, hold on, let me internalize this and let me focus on this for a second. So if you're telling me that there is a presence there whose purpose is to organize my mind so that I can simplify my life, so that I can have a better quality of life, I was just like, okay, let's get it. Let's make sure that if somebody else does not have that type of being, this is what we're doing here with quality of life. So when I look at quality of life, I like to look at the things that are around you. Like all of a sudden over the last couple of years, I'm starting to love flowers. So I try to keep flowers around me. I love color. So I keep color in my hair and I keep color in my clothes, right? If there's, I like makeup. I like to put my little face together. So I make sure my face is together, right? There are things that I like that improve my quality of life. And I think of the fact that through COVID, that we couldn't go anywhere and things were limited and reduced. What happened was, now y'all ready for this kicker? What happened was your life was all of a sudden set because there were things that you just couldn't do, places that you just couldn't go. Now, I know that's not the same for everybody because some of you may still have had to have, essential worker jobs where you had to go out or essential type clients. But guess what? It was still simplified because there were so many things that were not available to you during this time frame. Therefore, your quality of life, I'm hoping that it improved during that time in some way, shape, or form, because what you realized was a lot of stuff that you could do without. There were a lot of places that you didn't need to go anymore. There were a lot of people that didn't check on you throughout the vid, right? And so now you're starting to see this reemergence of people. Now you're starting to see that people are actually admitting that they have a problem. And I think that that's part of the whole thing, is admitting that there is something going on in your body, your mental health, that is causing you to not have the quality of life that you want. And when you don't admit it in the first place, you expect that someone was supposed to help you with it. So the quality of life that I'm talking about is defined by your standard. So what is the standard that you have defined that allows you to find things that are within your life? That to me is the question. What is standard? Now, your standard may be totally different. So I'm gonna tell you a little quick story, right? Now, it might be funny to some of y'all, but I had a friend back in the day, right? And we were talking about things that we like to eat and just quality of things, right? And I'm just like, listen, it's certain things that I'm not going to do because I know what better tastes like, right? So when you look at this and you talk about a thing like, let's just say crab meat, this is what we were talking about. And I was just like, I will take a crab leg down. Okay. I will eat a crab leg up. Right. So we're talking about that. And this friend is saying that they like imitation crab meat better than real crab meat. And I'm just like, you must be out of your mind. Like, I just don't understand that. Who in their right mind? But then I thought about this, right? And so me and my husband were having this discussion the other day and we're talking about it. Now, I'm the type of person where once I have better, then I'm not ever going to go back to what was worse, right? And if that means I have to save up my money, if that means I can't get it right now, if that means that I just have to wait on it, then I'm going to wait on it. I'm going to wait till I get the thing that I want, as opposed to trying to fill it with something that's imitation, something that's faux, something that's less than, okay? Now, this person said, well, it didn't matter what I said to them. They still liked imitation crab meat. Now, for me, I'm just like, this is just completely crazy. I don't understand this. But Guess what? If that's what you like and that's your quality and that's your standard, then you go ahead and you get some imitation crab meat. So, of course, I was being funny one day and just bought some imitation crab meat and gave it to that person, but they were happy with it. So I have been in the past, and I probably still am, and I'm saying this may be the same thing for you guys as well. We are very judgmental. I am a judge, Judy. That's what they try to call me sometimes. Because yes, I like to judge some things, and I'm just like, well, I wouldn't do that. But my grandma, well, my great grandma used to say, well, if you like it, I love it. Okay. So your quality of life and the things that you like may not be the same things that I like. And what I like may be less than somebody else likes. Right. So let's just say if I say, well, look, I like to go to Fresh Market and I like to get steaks, right? And somebody's like, oh my God, Fresh Market, the steaks are so fresh. They're so great. It's wonderful, right? And then somebody else may say, well, I like to go directly to the farm and go get a cow and cut it up. And I want my steaks to come directly off that cow that I could see that I bought that cow. But then somebody else may say, well, listen, I like to go to Japan and go get some Wagyu beef. Forget that regular old American cow that you're talking about. Let me get this Japanese cow and have some Wagyu beef. And it's way more expensive, right? Now, whenever you think about that, there's not a wrong thing that comes up to it when it's quality of life, because it's your standard that you're living up to. And when you decide that you're going to increase that standard, then this is how you do what we're talking about tonight, is you put those pieces together, because you are dictating the terms in your life that allow you to have the things that you enjoy and not worrying about what somebody else is doing. Like I said, I'm working on myself and not trying to be as judgmental. And that's why I'm just like, okay, well, I'm not going to do it, but you can do it. And it's fine for you, but it's not fine for me. So there are certain things that once you get to this quality of life, you will start to see that you want different. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do, because I see people are commenting, let me clean these glasses off. I'm going to pause for a second. And I'm gonna take some of these commentary. Let's just see what you guys have said. Y'all said go on. Yes. Okay. So feel free, if you're on right now, to go ahead and share the live. Okay. This way other people can join. And I'm just going to think about a couple of different things over here in my notes. So when we talk about quality of life and we talk about pieces, these are some of the basics. Now you can choose which one of these things you decide that you want to focus on at any given point in time. Okay. But wealth. All right. And we talk about mental wealth. So when I say mental wealth, I literally mean that your mind is feeling wealthy. You are happy with the decisions that you are making. Even if the decision is from day to day, today, you're happy with this decision making. And I think that makes a whole big, gigantic difference when we talk about our quality of life. Now, the other thing is employment. Now, for us people who are employed, we love working for ourselves, right? But there is some type of something that comes with working for yourself. There's an uncertainty, but then there's also an unlimited possibility of you being able to get the things that you need that you wouldn't have been able to get somebody else's job. Now, if you're working a job and that's where you're at, maybe you reached the pinnacle of where you wanted to be, and this is the job you were looking for, and you're now happy with that job. So I don't know, you fall in a lot of different things, but you could be happy with that job and then also happy with a business that you have on the side. Now, for me, when I'm talking to entrepreneurs, I'm talking to people who want to be full-time in business, right? So I'm just like, okay, hold on. We had a question up there. All right, here we go. So when we start to look at what we're talking about with our quality of life, we're saying to ourselves, like, these are things that are making happy, right? Now, the other thing would be your environment. And I am big on environment. I personally like for my environment to reflect the type of person that I am. So you can see artwork that's in the bag. You can see based on pictures. I want to feel comfortable wherever I'm at. Okay. The next thing would be physical. Okay. So when you talk about physical, these are the things that are going on with your body. Now, this is the only issue here. As you get older, those physical things decline, okay? Stuff that your skin gets softer, your bones seem to just fall apart at some point in time. Those joints do not do what they used to do, right? So back in the day, you could drop down and get your eagle on, and now you may need to call somebody because the eagle is not gonna land. You mess around and drop, and the eagle is on down, okay? So when you're looking about the physical things, then I would suggest that you make that a part of your quality of life as well, because of the fact that we got one body, right? So I'm talking to myself here too. I'm not just talking to you. I'm talking to myself, saying there are things that you know that you need to improve, right? So I looked at some pictures of myself from 2000, probably like 99, 2000 the other day. And I looked and I had one of my friends in there, and I was like, I should send her this picture. And she is lose her mind. Like when I look at how small and petite we are, and it's like, are you almost double the size of what you used? You don't feel it until you start to really start to see it, right? So you're looking at yourself and you're just like, well, I'm still cute, but I would like to lose a couple of pounds. But you have to put forth the effort to make that happen. Now, when we look at this and we say these are some things that we need to focus on, this is a small little group of things where we can put these pieces together. Okay. Now, other things, I'm just going to throw in some ancillary things that are important to you or people, is education. I am a big proponent of continual learning. Okay. As entrepreneurs, we have to continually learn because there's always going to be something new. So I like to even learn, what are the new businesses that are popping up? What are new opportunities that I have in order to be able to work with people? I believe in community over competition. I definitely believe in learning, whether it's from somebody that is a peer or somebody that's way further along, along than I am, right? Because the thing is, how did they get there? And how are people sustaining, right? So somebody that may be a peer may be sustaining in a totally, completely different way that I wasn't even thinking about. Sometimes those conversations that you have when it comes to educating yourself aren't just about strictly going to college. Like, it's not just a college thing, but it is also, what are those other things online that come up? So a lot of times I sign up for classes, and then in the daytime I take a class, right? It's nothing wrong with continually educating yourself so that you can know something. Now, even if you're not going to use it right now, that knowledge is still in there, and nobody's going to be able to take that knowledge away from you. Now, other things are recreation, leisure. Okay. So when we look at recreation and leisure, I am hoping that in your plan for your quality of life, that you do plan to take time off, right? That you do something that's recreational, because as business owners, we will work ourselves to no end. And it's not to say that you can't still do business in that course of leisure and recreation, but can you also turn your mind off, right? Like, do you actually put leisure into each day? So I want you to think about this. How many times as a business owner do you sit there and you eat lunch and you're doing work while you're eating lunch? And I would assume that that number is probably pretty high. Or you're eating lunch on the way from one meeting to another meeting, right? Or you're trying to eat lunch in between phone calls. It is very stressful to your mind and to your body and to your digestive system to not just take time to just sit and just be, and to just breathe and to just eat, right? Like, so there are times that, yes, you need to just work through some things, but there's a need for you to just sit and say, I'm going to put that work to the side and I'm going to sit down and eat. And whether that's a cold 15 minutes or a smooth 30 minutes or a whole entire hour, and you can get back to it. I don't know what your time frame is, and it may fluctuate depending on the day, but those pieces are what's missing, right? The pieces where we take time just for ourselves. So where we're taking time to just nourish ourselves, whether it's mentally or physically, or, we're actually eating something, nourish yourself as a part of your quality of life, and allow yourself to actually enjoy the food that you just ate. Have you ever eaten something and you forgot that you ate like 10, 20, 30 minutes later because you didn't even enjoy it? You inhaled it, right? So you have to take into consideration all of the parts of you that need attention. And that's what quality of life is about. Now, in addition, a couple of other things: social belonging, we have religious beliefs, safety and security, and freedom. These are some things that allow us to have quality of life. Now, once we get through some of the main things that we need to have, food, shelter, money, those kind of things, then we can start to focus on other parts of our lives that bring us joy, that allow us to be plentiful, that allow us to have a season of abundance, right? So I want you to really take into consideration, how important are things to you and how do you prioritize? So when I look at it, when I said religious beliefs, I used to go to church on Wednesdays. and go to Bible study and love it, love it, love it. A whole cool, good hour, get your word in and get on with your day, right? But I thought about the fact that this was before the world closed. I would literally make time in my schedule every Wednesday to travel to church, to go to church for that time frame, and then from church back to my office, right? So that meant, let's just say if I'm really blocking out a cool 2 hours, right? Just for travel time, incidentals, anything that happened along the way. But once things started to get whatever they are now, then it was like, well, you don't have to travel. They had church on TV, so you could go ahead and watch church on TV. But then what happened was you just got comfortable with doing whatever you were doing. And oh, okay, it's 12 o'clock. Okay, well, oh man, I forgot about it. I'm not going to watch it today. And then I felt this pull. I felt this urge to say, we have got to get back to the basics. And the basics would be, let's go back and listen to the sermon. Let's go back to Bible study. And then I did that this week. And when I'm telling you, it made me feel better. Quality of life is about how you feel about your situation. Now, you may be going through anxiety, you may be going through depression, or what I like to call just regular depression, because maybe it's not a D in there, but maybe it's depression where it's just the mood is off, the feeling is off. You may be going through any type of season of doubt, but I'm here to tell you that this is the time now for you to start to spring into action, for you to start to bloom and blossom. And nobody's going to do it for you, right? So when we look at what we need to do in order to make ourselves feel good, nobody else can do that. It's not going to be any amount of buying you anything, taking you anywhere, listening to something. Nobody's going to be able to do that until you make the decision internally that you want a better quality of life. So what I want you to do is take one of these areas of focus, okay? And I want you to then say, I'm going to put my pieces together, because for your individual standard of life and for your quality of life, you know what you want. And so when you start to look at the areas that you really need to focus on, then you can start to say, well, you know what? Maybe I want to focus on environment. And so maybe for environment, you want to get out of your house and you want to go get a co-working space because you need a different environment. Maybe being around people a little bit more is what you need. Or maybe you need to make a space in your own home in order for you to do some work. And it's a workspace and nothing else happens in that workspace. And when you cut the light off from that workspace, now you go back to your regular life and workspaces is cut, right? So I want to encourage you to watch something. And I think we can watch it together if you want over the next week. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but I would encourage you to watch the show, if you have Apple TV, called Severance. So the idea and concept of Severance is when you go to work, it's just work stuff. And then there's some type of cutoff. Don't know how they do it yet, but this is what the commercials say. When you go home, it's just home stuff. Bring the work in the home, you don't bring the home into work, right? So you're able to separate those parts of lives or of your life, I guess. And then what you're able to do is only focus on that when it's time to focus on that. Now, I know this may be a hard concept for us, but just imagine if you took your time frame and you had 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours where you just did work stuff, and then you took your other 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, and you just did home stuff. As entrepreneurs, we oftentimes have to mix the two together. There's no clear distinction sometimes, except for us saying, I'm asleep, right? Or, even when you're in the shower, even when you're on the toilet, right? Like you think about what you need to do next. You think about your business. So I'm going to encourage you to take some time, if you do have Apple TV, and don't forget, if you need any of those channels, you can go ahead and get them and do a trial, and then you can start watching it. But if you have the time or ability to watch Severance, because I'm going to go ahead and watch this week. So by the time that we get to next week's quality, then I'll have some jewels and some gems to be able to drop on you in regards to that, right? So next week, what we're actually going to talk about is we're going to talk about severance. We're going to talk about being able to identify and being able to kind of separate and so you see my earrings, right? To separate the work life from the private life, so that this way you can have both things and they can then coexist beautifully, and it will give you a better quality of life. So I hope you've enjoyed this evening. All right. And if anybody has any questions, hey, everybody. If anybody has any questions or anybody has any comments, feel free to go ahead and leave them, and I'll be happy to answer any questions or have any comments that you may have. But I think that it is a extremely important thing for us as entrepreneurs to have a better quality of life. Now, if you want to come to, we're doing a micro gathering. So for people that may not know, we have a company again, and I'm just going to say this because it's the end, called Give It to the People. We're based in Greensboro, North Carolina. And so what we do here is curated events, dope events for dope people. So we're going to do an event called Quality of Life, right? It goes with our theme of Women's History Month and what we want to bring to entrepreneurs. This Quality of Life event is going to be something that is held at a woman-owned space called Fiber Space, which is a co-working space in downtown Greensboro. In addition to that, we're going to have food and drinks and music, and we're going to do some quality of life activities at the actual event. This will be a time for you to do exactly what we talked about, which is building community over competition, which is seeing where there is somewhere else that you can lend a hand, which is seeing where somebody else can lend a hand to you and your business, and creating that level of connectivity, which we have been missing from in real life events, but also going past just passing out a business card. And so that's what I like people to understand is when you actually take the time to invest in a conversation that is fruitful. And sometimes what we like to do is prompt that conversation. Now, we like to do that because what happens is you have a better conversation. Instead of you just coming in saying, hey, she's a Penix Brown, my company is Give It to the People. This is what we do, which is great. I mean, that's a great thing because people need to actually know who you are and what you do. But when you ask the right questions, you get amazing answers. And I know that our entrepreneurs out there have some amazing things to be able to discuss, to talk about. And so that's what we're going to be bringing to the community on March 31st from 7 to 9 p.m. So if you just want to go to our website at giveittothepeople.com, spell it completely together, giveittothepeople.com, then you'll be able to embrace and you'll be able to get your ticket and you'll be able to come out to this wonderful event and work on your individual quality of life. And I need you to understand that just because we're having that one event doesn't mean that things won't continue after that, because they definitely will. But we want to do something that is in person. People have been asking us since we did our conference in January, when is next? And so this is the next. So hopefully we'll see you there. And if not, if we won't see you in person because you don't live in this area, we will be broadcasting that evening's Quality of Life as a live stream as well. So this way you'll be able to see it online, and that'll be totally, completely free because everybody's not here. So that part that starts at 8 o'clock, like we're doing tonight, you'll be able to then go ahead and you'll still be able to see that part live. So I hope that you enjoy yourself, and I hope that pieces, putting the pieces together tonight, this theme for this evening, I hope that this has been something that then allows you to really look at life, examine what you have, and then also decide on which direction you want to go in and what pieces are going to be the most important for you. Let's just say if we look at the rest of the year going forward, you can look at it and break it down 90 days, however you feel like you want to do for this season that you're in. Put those pieces together so you can have better quality of life. Okay. So I want to thank you so much for watching this evening. And if you're watching on the replay, please go ahead and share with friends and family and anybody that you know that needs to hear a message like this. And at the end of our lives, we always tell people, thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you show up and show out, and you continue